Imagine a world where energy is scarce. Governments are scrambling to get renewable energy sources to a large enough scale to support the population that once relied so heavily on energy from fossil fuels. It's hot from CO2 emissions due to overuse of our fossil fuels. This is why you should care about the energy crisis and the future of renewable energy. Hi, I'm Felix Adorna, a finance major at Texas Tech University, and as someone looking to go into the renewable energy industry after graduation, I've been paying close attention to what's been going on in the energy industry as well as the renewable energy part of that industry. In today's podcast, I'm going to be talking about how energy consumption has grown throughout the years in the United States, the environmental impacts of this non-renewable energy usage, why this matters for society, and what it holds for the future, as well as what you can do to help impact the future of energy as well as the future of the United States. To start, let's talk about the consumption of energy in the United States. According to charts provided by the United States Energy Information Administration, we can see that energy consumption has been steadily rising since the Industrial Revolution. We can also see that though production has exceeded consumption since 2019, with the rising consumption, we are still using these fossil fuels at a large and fast rate. This is depleting the supply of fossil fuels, and with 80% of all energy produced in the United States used for electricity and motor vehicles stemming from these fossil fuels, it is easy to see that consumption will ultimately lead to these fossil fuels being completely used up, and that we will need a alternative to continue with the lifestyles that we all enjoy. What is that alternative? It is renewable energy, and it is very positive and bright, but we need to start now in order to be ready for when we are out of fossil fuels. All this is great, but what are renewables and why are they so much better than fossil fuels? Well, for starters, renewables are much better for the environment and are far more sustainable, coming from renewable energy sources such as wind or solar energy. Now, how are they better for the environment? Well, they don't have CO2 emissions like fossil fuels. Fossil fuels contribute CO2 into the atmosphere, which through the greenhouse gas effect can harm the environment negatively. In 1 year, the burning of fossil fuels contributed 36.7 billion metric tons of CO2 into the atmosphere, and in the last century raised the global climate by 2 degrees, according to a video essay by ABC News. But how does this really affect the environment? Well, it affects crops, which are used to make your favorite foods, as well as it melts glaciers, which raises the sea level, and can contribute to environmental and ecosystem destruction. With all these negative effects to the environment, you might be thinking to yourself, well, this really doesn't affect me. Well, let me tell you a little bit about how it will affect you. You see, at the current rate of fossil fuel consumption, oil will be gone by 2052, natural gas will be gone by 2060, and coal will be gone by 2090, according to an article by Gioietta. Therefore, if we don't start reinforcing our renewable energy industry now, we will run out of things that we enjoy, like air conditioning and transportation. And you might be wondering yourself, well, I have an electric car. Yes, but that electricity is still most likely being powered through the use of fossil fuel electric production. Now, this might not affect you in your lifetime. However, your kids and your grandkids will most certainly be affected by this at some point in their lifetime, and you do want the best for your kids and for society. In order to sustain the comforts that we have now for them, we need to start thinking about this now and start taking action now. So you might be asking yourself, well, what can I do now? Simple things like conserving energy or use of solar panels are generally thought of as helpful ways to conserve energy. And while that will help, according to a video essay by ASAP Science, the best, most effective, and most impactful way that you can help the energy issue is paying attention to what's going on in the energy industry and the political space, as well as voting for politicians who support renewable energy companies and who value environmental issues. Look for those politicians who listen to scientists and understand what's going on in the world of energy, and they will have the most power in helping you make an impact on this issue. So that was the issue of energy usage in the United States and why you should care. We talked briefly about our consumption in the US of energy usage, the environmental impacts of using fossil fuels to a large degree, and why it matters and how it affects you as well as the future generations of the US. Then we briefly talked about how and what you can do to help affect the overall outcome of this issue. My name is Felix Adorna. All references used in this podcast are linked in the description, as well as the music used. And my socials are also in the description if you'd like to contact me or have any questions. This has been my podcast on the issue of energy usage in the United States. Thank you.